Hello, this is Bwana from Bwana.tv, and today I want to talk about Elite Dangerous and Patch 3 of the Fleet Carriers update in Elite Dangerous. We talked about Patch 2, and we did a video on that. You can check that out, and I'll put the link in the comments. We talked about how Frontier tried to fix the ship launch fighter rock reset trick, and it didn't work. And I said in that video that we would revisit this, and it was going to be an update, and sure enough, that's what Patch 3 is addressing. One of the lines in the patch notes is that they addressed the bug with the ship launch fighters resetting the subsurface nodes on the rocks. I went in, I was in my my cutter, and I decided to do a quick test. I found a rock with a couple of tritium nodes, and I mined those tritium nodes, and then I proceeded to try to reset it using the ship launch fighter trick. And when I came back, it was a little bit different, but it worked. The nodes didn't reset. I reprospected. I made sure my distance was okay. They didn't reset, but I still saw the silhouettes. I still saw the silhouettes of the subsurface deposits. So you can tell that it's trying to reset them, but it didn't. So I can call this a fix. I don't think it's going to work anymore. And good riddance, because I was tired of it. I was actually tired of it. Another change in the patch, which, you know, I kind of want to do another video on this to be more in depth, but they changed the way that the hotspots work, and what they said in the patch notes. I'll put the actual verbiage on the screen so I don't butcher it too much. They're going to double the amount that you can get from the single hotspots, but they're going to nerf the overlaps to compensate for that. And the first thing I want to test, and I didn't do much other testing. I want to do some testing on low temp diamonds, but I want to see if void opals spawns will be a little bit more common, because I have a love for core mining, and I want to get back to mining void opals. And I did some testing, and lo and behold, it was pretty bad. I actually did a mining analysis on this with the mining analyzer. And I went for like 45 minutes, and I found exactly two void opal cores. So it really didn't help that at all. So hopefully the low temp diamonds will be a little bit better. I imagine people from the subreddit Elite Miners are going to do extensive testing. I think right now the mining analyzer is actually down, so I don't think people can actually prospect a lot of rocks to see what the yields are after the update. Now, the big change, which came as a surprise, Frontier dropped this the other day as an addendum to the patch notes. They're going to change the way demand works. And the wording is very confusing. I'm going to read this verbatim. It's listed under trading. It's listed under trading. And it says, fix the problem with low temperature diamond commodity not decreasing its demand level as players sell commodity units to a market that demands it when the faction controlling that market has any state active in that star system. I read that at least 100 times, and I still don't quite understand what it means. So I was like, yeah, we're gonna go test this. We're gonna check this out. So what I did is that I hopped in my old my cutter, and I looked at the demand. I was working with the guys over at the Broken Limpet, Maddie and the Broken Limpet guys, and we were going around the system trying to find updated prices, because you know, the system flipped, and the prices had all updated, so we need to find something more recent. All the data on Anara and the EDD and network was all out of date. So before going in, I checked the Anara. I checked Anara, make sure that it was at a demand of 3K. So I stacked enough in my inventory to account for that 25% of the 3K, and I put that in my cutter. So when I went to sell, my surprise, can you imagine my surprise? I put 750 in there, being 25% of 3K. My surprise when I saw demand was actually 2884. It's like, huh, but the prices had just updated on Anara 45 minutes ago, so somebody had docked there. And the price was much lower. The price was 900 and I think 70K on Anara, around thereabouts. And then when I got to the station, it was 677K. What? So after I sold the diamonds, the demand dropped as anticipated. And I was like, okay, let's see what happens when I log in with my alt, a whole separate account, which is my Bwana OK commander. Let's log in with my alt and see what actually the values are for demand and price, because when I left, the demand was what, 2134, and the price was 677, 469. I was like, all right, let me log on my alt. We're gonna drop into Ham City and see what actually happened. And then when I logged into my alt, the demand was 2483, and the price was 789.96. I'm sorry, 789.976. Huh. Okay, so we've got some dynamic stuff going on here with demand now. So I proceeded to do a whole separate new test. Given the demand that I had, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to get taxed. So I put 620 cargo into my cutter to account for the demand that my alt just saw, right? Because that's the price that I saw last. So I go over to Ham City, and I dock, after avoiding some interdictions, of course. And I go over to Ham City and I dock, and then I look at the demand, and guess what I see? I look at the demand, and the demand is 2433, and the price is 573.989, and I have 620 cargo. So I'm gonna get taxed again because I couldn't predict what the cargo, well, I'm sorry, what the demand was, because it changed in between my docks. I don't know what to say. So after I sold, demand dropped to 1813, which is what it's supposed to do. And then I went in with my alt and I looked at the demand again, and it was 2278, but the price was 723,890. So on my alt, the demand dropped a little bit and the sell price dropped as well. But on the account that sold the commodities, the demand drops a little bit more substantially for that particular session until you re-instance. So the conclusion that I came through with these tests, it's kind of weird, but the conclusion that I came to with these tests is that when you sell, you're going to notice demand drops, but so is everyone else, but it's not going to be as dramatic. It's going to be a trickle down. It's going to be trickle, right? So is the sell price. The sell price is going to gradually decline over time. This is the kicker, though. This is the thing that worries me, and I think we're going to see it in practice. The more people that are buying and selling from a station, the more drastic the drops are going to be. So if you got a station with 5,000 demand and 1.7 million per ton on low temperature diamonds, you best believe it ain't going to stay that way for long. So we're going to have a much more dynamic market, but at the same time, by the time you get to a station with a good price, it's going to be gone. And this is not only going to affect low temperature diamonds, if this is across the board. I haven't had a chance to test it with any other commodities, but it's going to affect all other trade. Meaning that if there's a hot trade route, it's going to dry up very, very fast. Like super fast. What we've been seeing with low temp diamonds has been, you know, the prices have been fairly static, right? And, you know, trade routes in the past would dry up over time. You know, it would take them a while, but they would dry up. It looks like the same thing is going to happen with LTDs, but given the taxes that we have to pay if we bring too much cargo, I think a big problem a lot of us are going to have, including myself, is how much cargo do I take into the station? Because the tax gets calculated based on what's in your cargo when you dock. So if you bring too much cargo, you're going to get penalized, and you're not even going to know what the demand is if you're going by a NARA. So my suggestion, and this is what I'm going to do from now on, is I'm going to use the in-game tools to see if it'll give me the most up-to-date trade prices before I dock and the most up-to-date demand. I don't know if it'll do that, but I'm going to have to learn how to do it because we can't depend on Anara anymore, because Anara takes data when you dock and it uploads it to the EDDN. Not Anara, but like EDD, I'm sorry, like EDMC and other programs that connect to the EDDN. They take that data when you dock and they upload it. So we've been using that up until now. And it looks like we're going to have to, if you want to do effective selling and trading with this demand of low temperature diamonds, you're going to have to figure out how to use the in-game filters to determine what you should put in your cargo. Either way, I gotta say the initial tests from my perspective on this change is that it's going to dramatically shake up the trade market, and that includes mining, because mining is all trading. In case you didn't know, mining is completely trading. And if this is true across all the commodities, that you're gonna have a slow trickle down. And I don't know, it didn't seem that slow when I did a test between a couple of people. You know, it dropped a good amount on one trade for you, and it wasn't a negligible amount for the other commander as well. So you can imagine, what if we get 10 commanders, 15 commanders, 50 commanders, or if it's like what we saw with LTD selling in hot systems, possibly hundreds of commanders. These routes and these rates are going to dry up so fast that by the time you catch a fleet carrier taxi to a cell system, it's going to be dead. I don't want to be as dramatic to say that trading and mining is completely done or completely dead, but this is a pretty substantial shakeup from my testing initially. Let me tell you though, this is one time where I really hope I'm wrong. Somebody please prove me wrong that we've got this slow trickle down depending on demand. Because in any other game, this wouldn't be a problem. I know some of you are probably saying, Bwana, this is how it's supposed to work. Well, in the supposed to work world, you have control over supply. We have no control over supply. Supply is simulated in this game. So we're at the mercy of the BGS to give us supply. So when supply dries up, we just shrug our shoulders and go, well, I better go find somewhere else to get the supply, and I got to go look for it, because we don't have any control over that. You know, we got control over system states to a certain degree, but in terms of individual commodity supply, we don't have that kind of granular control. So we're a little bit helpless here, from what I can see. I don't want to go this long. I don't want to ramble too long, but this demand change worried me when I saw the patch notes. I was like, this seems like it's going to break stuff. And lo and behold, looks like it has broken stuff from the norm. Somebody please prove me wrong. Somebody please tell me that I'm wrong about this, because it doesn't seem like this is going to help the problem of balance, because I think a lot of us think that, you know, mining is imbalanced. And if you kill this, if you kill trade, if you kill mining, and you can't sell anywhere because the routes dry up so fast before you can even get there, then we're left with year one trickling in of credits again, which was a problem in itself. So obviously we want to buff everything, right? That's what everybody's been saying. Buff everything. And I'm with that crew too. This is Bwana from Bwana.tv. Probably not the last time I'm going to talk about this topic, because I've been up all night. I've been up all night. You can probably hear it in my voice. And I spent all morning testing this. It took a while because we had to actually find a site with some demand. That's another thing. Demand is really low. Even in populated systems, there's no demand. Like, we found this 3000 system with a decent value, and we've been jumping across all the systems that meet criteria for good LTD prices, and there's just no demand. Yet. We got a few handful of systems to check, but this is not looking good from a demand perspective. And demand means everything in this new system. You got to have demand, because it's going to slowly trickle down, whereas before it was static until a flip. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Please leave a comment, subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment. Let me know. Am I wrong about this? Take care.